From ancient folklore to modern nightmares, he has haunted our collective fears for centuries. He's the monster under the bed, the shadow in the corner of your room, the thing you hear breathing when you're supposed to be alone. They say he's just a story, a whisper in the dark to keep children in line. But what if the boogeyman is real? What if he's always been here, watching, waiting, hiding in the shadows, just beyond your sight? My name is Michael. Join me as we step into the darkness where he waits. This is Project Black Garden, a Monsters and Myths podcast. Season 2, The Snapdragon Files. Episode 15, Case File 087. Boogeyman. Don't close your eyes. The Boogeyman is a mythical creature found in many cultures worldwide, often depicted as a supernatural being used to scare children into good behavior. The details of the Boogeyman vary, but he is almost always associated with darkness, punishment, fear, and death. The concept of a mysterious child-snatching figure has existed for centuries, with origins in folklore, mythology, and cautionary tales. The name Boogeyman likely comes from the Middle English word bogey, meaning hobgoblin or frightening specter. Some scholars trace it back to a Dutch meaning for goat, linking it to the devilish imagery of demons and satyrs. Different cultures have their own versions, such as medieval Europe. Stories of shadowy creatures lurking in the dark were used to keep children from wandering into danger. In England, a creature resembling a bear that stalked and frightened children. Germany, the Black Man, or the Dark Man, a shadowy figure used to discipline misbehaving kids. Through Spain and Latin America, a shape-shifting entity that kidnaps and eats disobedient children. Italy, literally the Black Man, a nighttime figure that comes for misbehaving kids. Many cultures see the Boogeyman as a formless, shifting entity rather than a single defined monster. It often embodies the fear of the unknown manifesting as whatever a child or society fears most. Often, the Boogeyman is used by parents to scare children into obedience, keeping them from dangerous places or bad behavior. Almost universally, the Boogeyman lurks in dark places, such as closets, under beds, or just outside the window. Some traditions depict the Boogeyman as a punisher of cruel or evil people, not just children. The Boogeyman is an age-old symbol of fear, darkness, and discipline, and the legend remains deeply embedded in folklore and pop culture. There are many stories from the past of the Boogeyman, such as in 1892, the children in the village of Darnmore knew never to enter the local orchard after sunset. The Boogeyman was said to sleep beneath its roots, waking only when a child's laughter echoed through the trees. One summer night, a group of boys dared their friend Eli to enter the orchard and laugh as loud as he could. He did, and he vanished. His voice was heard for days afterward, weeping through the branches. Locals eventually cut down the oldest tree. Inside its hollow trunk, they found fingernail scratches and teeth embedded in the wood, far too small to be from any adult. In the 1990s, in Seattle, a series of found audio tapes from a babysitter's recorder told a chilling tale of her final night. She had been hired to watch a 6-year-old boy named Ben, who insisted the man under the bed talk to him when the lights went out. On the final tape, you hear Ben whisper, "He says he wants you tonight." Then there's a long silence, a dragging noise, and the babysitter's panicked breathing. And softly, Ben's voice says, "He doesn't like when you scream." The police found the tape, but the babysitter was never seen again, and the boy only said, "He took her to the dark place. Now he's waiting for someone new." A year ago, in his suburban home in Ohio, a 9-year-old girl kept telling her parents the man in the closet was watching her. Every night, the door creaked open just enough to reveal a sliver of darkness and 2 red glints. Her parents laughed it off until the night she screamed so loudly the neighbors called the police. They found the closet empty, but claw marks gouged the inside of the door. The little girl was gone. No broken windows, no sign of struggle. Just her teddy bear left sitting on the bed, and its buttoned eyes ripped out. The parents were quickly blamed for her disappearance. Throughout the many variations of the Boogeyman, one thing has never changed. It's dangerous and sometimes deadly. As in my great Uncle Sam's own words, this is what he experienced. The local newspaper referred to this horror story as the Hollow Creek Orphanage Incident, and it all began in the small town of Brunswick. Its local police station smelled of stale coffee and tension. That's where I first met Detective Harris. He was sitting across the table from Sister Mary, the head caretaker of Orphanage Hollow Creek. Recently, a handful of children had gone missing, vanished without a trace. I relieved Detective Harris and took a seat directly across from the heartbroken face of Sister Mary as her voice trembled as she recounted the events. She said, "It started a week ago. We lost Tommy first. He was found wandering outside at dawn, covered in scratches and whispering about a man in the shadows. He wouldn't say much else before he disappeared again, this time forever. The next night, Sarah's bed was empty. We searched for hours, but she was gone, like she had melted into the walls. Then came Frederick. He had sworn he saw something, a man. He called it the Boogeyman, tall with glowing red eyes, watching him from the hallway. He refused to sleep, but one night, when the lights flickered, he vanished too. No footprints, no sounds, just gone. And finally, little Emma. She was the last. And by the way, Sister Mary's voice broke. I have a feeling little Emma was her favorite. She said that a spooky shadow whispered her name and called her to come with him. For weeks, she would draw what she saw, and when we asked who that was, she would whisper, "Boogeyman." One night, we found her bed cold and untouched, just a little pad of paper with her drawings. She was never seen again. I felt a chill as Sister Mary's words hung in the air, and I felt the anger well up inside of me as the thought of something like this happening to my brother's kids. I thanked Sister Mary for her honesty and openness and headed for the orphanage, determined to find answers. The structure of the orphanage was old. It was silent except for the creaking floorboards beneath my boots. The children's rooms were empty, their beds still neatly made. As I passed the nursery, a cold breath brushed past my neck, and unbelievably, I heard a whisper. It echoed softly, "Time to come with me." I spun around, ready to smash whoever had dared whisper that in my ear, but I found nothing. And then a faint, breathy laugh came from the opposite direction. Without hesitation, I spun around again, and there, in the shadows, stood the menacing monster, tall, impossibly thin, eyes burning like coals, fingers stretched into long, pointy claws. I growled, "You won't take any more children tonight," then quickly raised my automatic weapon. The monster stepped forward, voice like a crackling winter wind. "They belong to the dark now. You cannot save them." Immediately, I fired my weapon. The burst filled with damaged bullet holes, and the shadows seemed to pulse everywhere. The boogeyman hissed and vanished, leaving only an echo of his chilling laughter. But I was sure this was not over. The stale air thickened as I gripped my weapon tighter, realizing bullets were not going to stop a beast made of shadow. So I took a deep breath and activated the tactical light attached to the front of my weapon. Now, this was no normal flashlight. It was specially made for Black Ops and had a lumen count that was dangerous for human eyes. The rumor was once that this flashlight was so powerful that it could burn a vampire to ash in a matter of seconds, earning the nickname the Night Stalker. I took a step forward and my heart began to pound in the same rhythm with the creaking floor beneath me. The bright beam of light cut through the darkness, casting long, jagged shadows along the peeling walls. I could feel the temperature drop sharply, and from the corner of my eye, a whisper curled around my ear like freezing smoke. "You can't stop what's already begun." I spun around to face the source. The boogeyman had emerged fully now, towering and twisted. His form was more shadow than flesh, eyes glowing with hellish red light that seemed to pierce my very soul. Its fingers stretched into cruel talons that scraped the wooden floor, leaving black scorch marks. I swallowed hard, trying to raise my weapon, using the brilliant flashlight as if it were a sword. "I'm not afraid of you," I dared. The boogeyman laughed. It was a hollow, grinding sound, like dry leaves scraping against a tombstone. The dark creature leaned down to me and spit. Fear is your weakness, and I feed on it. Suddenly, the shadow surged forward, faster than anything humanly possible. I stumbled but held my ground, swinging the flashlight in a wide arc, successfully striking the creature's chest. The light seemed to cut through the boogeyman's form, forcing him to recoil with a strangled hiss. Black smoke billowed from where the beam struck, but the creature's grin only widened. It gurgled. You think light can save them? Foolish man. My mind raced. I remember the old stories. The boogeyman could not resist the pure light of truth. But this flashlight was no ordinary beam. For before I had left the police station, Sister Mary had blessed the tip of my weapon, a desperate gift that she had given me that I rolled my eyes at when given. I twisted the end of the flashlight, bringing the beam to full power, and it illuminated everything in a blazing pillar of white fire. The boogeyman screamed, a sound that echoed through the orphanage like a banshee's wail. His form withered, melting and twisting in agony, shadows peeling away as if scorched and peppering in bursts of black ash. I took a step closer, pushing more light onto every dark crevice before me. Its screams intensified, and I knew his end was close now. But before the creature vanished entirely, he hissed, voice slithering through the dark. And his words still haunt me till this day. It said, "This isn't over. I will come back for what's mine. They will all die." Then with a final implosion of black shadow, it disappeared into nothing, leaving only my burning light cutting through the dark. I turned off the powerful flashlight and lowered my weapon. I didn't realize how hard I was breathing, and I took a moment to settle myself. The orphanage was safe and silent once more, but the faintest echo of children's laughter danced on the breeze, taunting me, a haunting reminder that this battle may have just begun. Now that's where my uncle's file ends, and apparently nothing else was said about that orphanage, and if that haunting monster ever returned. But my great uncle also acknowledged that that was not the last time that he had a run-in with the boogeyman, though it always came back in different forms, like Slender Man or the Hat Man, and sometimes as tiny little devils. All right, listeners, or fellow paranormal caretakers, since this is season 2, I wanted to give everybody an update on where to reach me. I've enjoyed all the emails and messages on social media. They keep me sane and make me realize that I'm not crazy for sharing my great uncle's files. So as always, please email me at pbgharvest@gmail.com. Also, I'm on Twitter as Gardner Michael, as well as on Blue Sky with the same name. I try to give as many updates as I can on those, much more than how often I release an episode. But I was talked into starting an official TikTok page, so look me up on there. Also is Gardener Michael, and feel free to reach out to me on any of those. I can't wait to hear your stories, especially any run-ins with the Boogeyman. For instance, I'd love to share one of the most recent emails I received from a fellow gardener. The email starts with the subject line, Bigfoot, beer, and the best damn episode. Hey, Michael. Just wanted to shoot over a quick note to say the Bigfoot episode was absolute gold. I've listened to more cryptid podcasts than I care to admit, but yours had me hooked from the first tree knock to the last terrified note from your great uncle. The way you blended lore, witness accounts, and just the right amount of humor was perfect. You managed to keep the vibe spooky without slipping into full tinfoil hat territory. No easy feat, my friend. Also, I would love for you to upload one of the sketches that your great Uncle Sam had done. I bet the sight of the Bigfoot he encountered would give me goosebumps. Anyway, just wanted to say thanks. Keep the episodes coming. Can't wait to hear what monster you're unleashing on us next week. I'll be listening, with the lights on probably. Stay weird, Derek. Longtime fan, first time emailer. And he finished it off with a UFO emoji, it's Bigfoot footprints, and a fire emoji. Thank you, Derek. This email made my week. And I've been toying with the idea of uploading some of the pictures and definitely some of my great Uncle Sam's sketches. But these journals are very personal to me, especially the sketches from my history, my family. It's not easy to share those because I know what happens when you do that. Ridicule, fake news, you're a liar. You're in this for the money. Well, I wish I was in it for the money. But we'll see. If enough of you ask, I will definitely show the world the visual evidence. And just wait. These coming weeks, you're going to have to dust off that tinfoil hat. It gets crazy. But anyways, thank you again for reaching out. Keep listening. And please continue to share this podcast with like minds and friends and family. Because the truth, our truth, must be heard. It must be said. As always, I'm your host, Michael. This has been Project Black Garden, a Monsters and Myths podcast. Season 2, the Snapdragon Files. But remember, monsters are very, very real. And sometimes they're born in the shadows.